Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Boogie Fland, we talked about him a ton when he entered the portal. I think he actually entered the portal on literally the last day that you could enter. Everybody freaks out. What does it mean? Why is he doing it? And I said at the time, I said, I think a couple things is one, first of all, before we even get into the portal thing, I just think Boogie Fland has a little bit of a bad reputation, okay? Because I understand. Listen, I watch all the games, so you don't got to tell me. I understand that Boogie Fland, when he got hurt, Arkansas played better as a team. But what I will also say is that statistically, when he got hurt, he was having one of the best seasons in the history of the SEC for a freshman guard, okay? Now, I know the stats flattened out the 3-4 games that he returned back at the end, but he was averaging, as a freshman in the SEC, 16 points per game, about just under 6 assists, 3-point shooting, 35 or so percent. Listen, he wasn't Cooper Flagg, but he was pretty freaking good behind it. Like, I think if the season ended, now we don't know if Arkansas would have made a run, but I think he would have been like a freshman All-American if he had stayed healthy. He doesn't. Arkansas goes on its run. To his credit, by the way, and I thought this was something he deserved credit for at the time, he came back in the NCAA tournament when it would have been easy for him to say, screw it, whatever, I'm out. But he also did enter the portal right before the deadline. And so why it's interesting is because everybody asked me at the time, Torres, what does it mean? And I said, listen, kid's got to protect himself. He's coming off of a major injury. He's not a guaranteed, forget first round pick. You know, he's not Cooper Flagg. He's not Malowach. He's not Dylan Harper. He's not a guy that is certainly going to go in the first round. And you just have to protect yourself. I mean, what if you have a couple bad workouts? What if you re-aggravate the injury? What if whatever? And so you have to protect yourself. Arkansas is largely set. And so if something goes wrong in the draft process and you want to come back to college basketball, you need a landing spot. You can't do that if you're not in the portal unless you want to return to Arkansas with a loaded backcourt, which we're going to talk about in a second. Well, I bring it up because I thought it was actually a smart strategic move for him to enter the transfer portal. And what did I also say at the time? I don't know what's going to happen, but there will be interest, and I think it will be very intriguing to see what the market is for him and if the market dictates that he should come back to college basketball. Well, I bring it up because there was certainly an interesting report that people sent to me over the course of the weekend. So Boogie Fland, of course, played at Arkansas, and I'll say this, Bo Mattingly of the Chuck and Bo show, both of, Chuck's the voice of Arkansas Razorbacks football and basketball. Bo Mattingly's been around for a million years. There was a report that Florida has been linked to Boogie Fland. And here is what Bo Mattingly had to say. Producer Matt, play the sound.
So I saw this story yesterday from a media outlet in Gainesville covering the Gators. They were one of the favorites to land Boogie Fland in the transfer portal if he doesn't stay in the draft. I did some digging around, talked to some people, and I was surprised to hear what I'm about to tell you. I believe that Boogie Fland, if he doesn't stay in the draft, could end up getting $5, $6, maybe $7 million to play somewhere else.
Good for him.
Right. If you're Arkansas, is that what you say? Man, good for you. We love you. You're still
So there you have it. $5, $6, $7 million to play somewhere else. Let's go ahead and dive in because, listen, those guys are two of as good of anybody who covers Arkansas. By the way, they actually asked me on their show. I feel terrible. Their show is on 6 to 9 Central Time. That's 4 to 7 Pacific. At some point, I'll get on the show. But anyway, let's talk about that report because how about Boogie Fland? $7 million? Let's discuss. Okay, so first off, couple things. One, this is respectful of the report of Bo Mattingly, of his sources, whatever. I don't think Boogie Fland's getting $7 million because I don't think anybody, at least at this point in this era of maybe a year from now it'll be different. But right now, I don't think anybody's making $7 million playing college basketball, or even $6, and I think even $5 is probably certainly on the higher end, at least from the school. Okay. Now, again, Cooper Flagg probably made $10 million when you include all of his outside endorsements, but what he made from Duke is not nearly as much as $6, $7, $8 million. Okay. Or whatever, $5, $6, $7 million. You look at college basketball this year, right? AJ DeBonsa, I think, is in the 4 to 5 range. He's not in the 6 to 7 range. JT Toppin, Big 12 Player of the Year, is in the $4 million range. And so, do I think it's 4, 5, 6 million? I don't. But I'll say a couple things. Well, and also I don't think Florida is the school that's been linked to him. Florida is the school that was in that specific commentary. I don't think Florida's got $7 million. I don't know if they have $7 million to spend on their whole roster, let alone one player. Remember, they let Denzel Aberdeen walk. Denzel Aberdeen was supposed to return to Florida. Kentucky, we believe, doubled his salary at about $2 million. And so if Florida didn't have $2 million to retain the sixth man off of their team, I don't know that they have $6, $7 million to pay Boogie Fland. But what I'll also say is this, even if it's not $7 million, I do think if he decides to return to college basketball, I think he does become one of the highest paid players in the sport. You look at some of the numbers that we believe to be accurate. Donovan Dent, $3 million to go to UCLA. Now, Donovan Dent's really good. I think when my portal list comes out, he'll probably be number 2, number 3 on that list somewhere. But he is coming from the Mountain West, okay? And so if Donovan Dent could get $3 million, I don't see why Boogie Fland couldn't get $3+ million. Who else? Jalen Lowe, we believe, is at about $3 million at Kentucky. I like Jalen Lowe. I don't know that Boogie Fland's not better than Jalen Lowe. So the point I guess I'm trying to make, 6, 7 million might be a little bit much, but is 3 million? Is 3.5? I don't think so. Now the question becomes, and this is interesting, where could he land? Because Bo Mattingly referenced that in this segment as well. First of all, I'll be blunt, and maybe I'm just doing this wrong. I do think Arkansas is basically off the table at this point. And I think this is the new reality of this NIL era, right? Is you used to just recruit a 5-star kid. You knew he was only going to be on campus for 1 year. And then you immediately recruited over him and said, we're bringing in the next guy, good luck in the NBA. Well, now if you're Boogie Fland, you're kind of this fringe first round, second round type pick. And what becomes interesting from Arkansas's perspective, you've already filled his spot basically on the roster. You recruited Darius Acuff, 5-star McDonald's All-American. You recruited Malik Thomas, 5-star McDonald's All-American. You recruited back DJ Wagner off last year's team. There's just not a spot for Boogie Fland on that roster. And I've had some people reach out to me Torres, how does this happen? It's what is the alternative? If Darius Acuff wants to commit, you take Darius Acuff. If Malik Thomas wants to commit, you take Malik Thomas. If DJ Wagner wants to come back because he's not an NBA draft prospect, you take DJ Wagner. And so for me, this is it's just the reality of where we are in 2025, 2026 is all of these coaches are in a tough spot, right? Do you basically wait on a kid and hope that things work out the way that Kentucky is with Otega Owe, the way that Arkansas is with Carter Knox? Or if you have an opportunity to replace them, do you do it? By the way, it's not just an Arkansas thing. Darian Williams was a key part at Texas Tech. He tells Grant McCasland, I want to test the NBA draft waters. Grant McCasland at Texas Tech is like, dude, I got to go find somebody to replace. I can't wait till May 24th to figure out if you're coming back to college or not. I got a guy that's maybe not you, but is 80% of you, and he wants to sign with me right now. I don't want to say kick Darian Williams to the curb, but they had to make a tough decision. By the way, St. John's, Rick Pitino, RJ Lewis. Everybody talks about RJ Lewis. Oh, we got benched. What does that mean? The reason that RJ Lewis isn't going to be at St. John's next year is because he wants to test the NBA draft waters. And Rick Pitino's like, I'm not waiting until May 24th, May 23rd, May 28th for you to make a final decision on if you're going to be in the NBA draft. And so with Arkansas, they had to recruit over Boogie Fland. But what becomes interesting to me is he is still a player that I think has a lot of value in college basketball. And again, I think part of it, because of the way Arkansas played after he got hurt, I think there is a little bit of, I think he's actually kind of undervalued as a player, and he's in an interesting spot because, again, like PJ Haggerty, I think he would be a very good college basketball player that isn't quite ready for the NBA. And so you kind of have a tough decision, right? Do you start your pro career? Do you do whatever you can? Or do you come back to college where you're going to make more money in college basketball next year than you are as a pro? Listen, I don't know Boogie Fland, okay, but I know enough to know. I think in a perfect world, he wants to go to the NBA. He wants to be a pro. He wants to get drafted and start that pro career. But if somebody is going to offer you three and a half, $4 million, you just, what's the old saying? Just say no. You ain't saying no to that, or most guys wouldn't. And that's where it becomes a tricky situation for Boogie Fland, is that he is still a very good college basketball player that would bring a ton of value to a college, but does he want to come back to college basketball or start the pro process? So we will see what happens. Now, I will say if he does come back, I think Florida, to me, makes a ton of sense. I think the other interesting thing with Boogie Fland, there's always a team that could use a player of his caliber. But I do think we're getting to the point on on the calendar where, Florida is in the mix for Desmond Claude, the guard from USC. They take Desmond Claude. I don't know that they're going to take Boogie Fland on top of him, nor do they have the finances for it. Ole Miss takes Travis Perry. We'll talk about that in a half a second. I don't know if Ole Miss has enough money, and although I do think Ole Miss has more money than we realize, because they haven't really hit on very many guys so far this offseason. So there's going to be somebody, if he does come back to college basketball, Florida appears to be the favorite. I'll tell you this, I don't think it's going to be $7-8 million, whatever the number was that was thrown out. But I do think he would be probably one of like the 10, 12 highest paid players in college basketball next year. I think this one's going to be interesting to monitor because it's the age-old question. Do you want to start your pro career and risk it, or do you want, frankly, more guaranteed money at the college level?